With this being my first trip to Europe, I was equal parts nervous and excited to see what life was like abroad.
There you go. Cheers.
Where are we going?
Paris.
After literally what was the longest flight of my life, we landed in Paris around 1 p.m. their time, and the first stop of our trip was to check in our hotel, the Gare de Lyon Hyatt Regency. We had this absolutely spectacular view of the city. But with jet lag looming, we knew it was a good idea to get some food in our stomachs, so we took a stroll and got sandwiches at Focaccia Novantino. So by this time, the jet lag was kicking in full speed, and we took a bit of a power nap before dinner. What are we wearing?
Okay, my top is from Nuuly. My shorts are from Zara. My shoes are Dolce Vita. My bag is Baguette. And we're going to Les Jeux, I think. Ethan, you go next.
My shorts are thrifted Old Navy. Shoes are Solomon. Shirt is Sewn Again. Glasses Ray-Ban. We're going to Les Jeux. So our first dinner in the City of Love was Les Jeux, which I had their steak frites, and it was honestly one of my favorite meals that I had during the trip, and I had a little white wine to pair with it. Once we wrapped up our dinner, we just kind of took a little walk around the city, checked out different places, walked along the Seine, and then the jet lag was really kicking in, so we headed back to the hotel for a really good night's sleep, which did not take long. Once we woke up, I felt like I was pretty much adjusted to the already 6-hour time difference. We got our day started fairly early just because we had tickets for Louvre, which was only a quick metro ride away, luckily. Now, as an American tourist, is the Louvre a little overcrowded and a little overrated? Yes. But is the Louvre also something that you should do just to check off your bucket list? Yes, definitely. All the paintings and sculptures and everything was beautiful. Shout out to my girl Mona. And it's definitely something that you just want to say that you did. But the lack of central air conditioning and just the overall crowdedness of the Louvre was kind of catching up to us really quickly. Luckily, as soon as that was all kind of catching up to us, we realized it was time for our dinner reservation at Mama Primi, so we hopped on the metro and got over to the Montmartre area, which we realized we were running a bit late to our dinner. So Mama Primi had my absolute favorite dinner of this trip, which was a veal stuffed ravioli, which I unfortunately did not record, but I would recommend this place for anybody who's traveling to Paris. Following that absolutely scrumptious meal, we walked around the town of Montmartre, which was also the highlight of my trip. It was honestly an accident that we ended up in this part of Paris, but my sister said she heard about Montmartre and specifically that we should see the view from the Basilica. So we decided why the heck not, and we took an Uber up the hill to get to the church, and my goodness, this view was spectacular. We were greeted with live music, tons of vendors selling commodities at a market, and just amazingly high vibes. We had the chance to also go inside the Basilica for free, which had just a gorgeous, gorgeous view in there, amazing architecture, and just something that I would recommend anybody does on their trip here to Paris. Once we spent enough time soaking up all the amazing views, my family and I decided we were in a bit of a need for a drink, so we checked out an American-inspired bar called Harry's, which apparently is known for their oldest ever Bloody Mary. I'm not the biggest Bloody Mary guy, so I decided to opt out. Still, the drink that I got was absolutely amazing, and after that one drink, we all kind of were in agreement that it was going to be time for bed, so we headed back to the hotel to get some rest. Our third day had a bit of a late start, just simply due to the fact that it felt like we were all still kind of catching up on sleep from the plane. Today was actually my sister's birthday, so she took the reins on what we did for our day, which, surprise, surprise, included shopping. As we got off the metro, we saw these massive planes do flyovers practicing for Bastille Day, which was only a couple days away at the time, and it was super cool. had a few vintage stores in mind that I wanted to check out, so our first stop was at Episode Vintage. This store had the best collection out of all the shops that we went to. They had 2 levels with a very large amount of clothing to sort through at decently fair price. Next up was Retro Vintage, which honestly, you guys can skip this place. I did not find anything that was worth my while. The last shop that we had time for was Iconic Vintage, which was the store I spent easily the most time in trying to find items. They had a highly curated selection of clothing, and unfortunately I just left empty-handed just because it was a bit on the pricier side, but I tried on a couple things as you can see here. We met back up with my mom and my sister for Olivia's birthday dinner at Billy, which was an absolute vibe of a vinyl resto bar.
Birthday dinner.
The last and best thing that was a part of our day was a sunset river cruise down on the Seine, and this was actually our first time seeing the Eiffel Tower this entire trip. But the views on this cruise were absolutely breathtaking. I'll just leave the videos to speak for themselves. Alright, on to day 4. So we grabbed a little bite at the hotel buffet, and this was the day that we went to Disneyland Paris. Growing up going to Disney World in Orlando, it was really cool to see a different park, and Disneyland Paris just honestly felt like a condensed version of Disney World in Orlando. Luckily we got to the park and we had the Premier Pass, which is essentially like Fast Pass. So we were able to get on all the rides like Phantom Manor, Indiana Jones, Pirates of the Caribbean, Peter Pan, Small World, Buzz Lightyear, and Hyperspace Mountain in the first park. Then, after we were done with the first park, we made a quick walk over to the next park, Disney Adventure. And we hit rides like Frozen, Ratatouille, Crush's Coaster, Avengers Flight Force, and then we called it a day after that just because this was our hottest day of the trip so far, and there was really no escape from the heat in Disney. It wasn't like Orlando in the sense where you get blasted by AC in every gift store and in every ride. There was really no escaping it, so we were feeling the heat and decided it was time for dinner, so we took the metro back into the city. As you can see here, we were all a little bit tired, definitely feeling the day, but we were at our last dinner of the trip, which was La Grande Colette, and let's just say it wasn't the best in the world. But to bring some fire back into the night, we decided on going to Caveau de la Huchette. Sorry for my mispronunciation, but it was a jazz club that was featured in La La Land apparently, and decided to check it out. But despite this obviously also being a tourist trap, we had a really good time. It was pretty sweaty in there because it was also very hot, but it was fun sweating my ass off listening to some Parisian jazz. We wrapped up the night with a glass of wine and went to sleep for the last time in Paris.
And it's delicious. We just had some wine on the little terrace.
Despite us having 5 days in Paris, we truly only had 4 days to really do what we wanted to do. Our last day was kind of just spent packing up, getting ready for our travels, grabbing a bite at our favorite place, Noventino Focaccia, and we made our way to the airport and got on the plane with no issues. Wrapping up this video, I'd just like to say I had a blast in Paris. It's a vacation that I'll remember for the rest of my life, and it's a destination I would recommend to anyone. And for those who haven't been, I whipped up a little list of recommendations of things that my family did that I think anybody else would find spectacular. First up on my recommendations, I'd like to say plan where you eat. A lot of the places that we went to required reservations, and I don't think it's always going to be possible to get a reservation last minute, especially in such a busy time like us when we went in July. This is also helpful if you have an allergy restriction. I have a peanut and tree nut allergy, and I had to do a lot of research of places that I felt comfortable with going beforehand. And so knowing these places, being able to get reservations for them beforehand, and just showing up, it was great to be prepared and great to know it was on the menu, especially if you have, like I said, dietary restrictions, and otherwise just if you're a picky eater or anything like that. And the favorite places that I ate at with my family were Mama Primi, Billy, Le Jus, and our absolute favorite place, Focaccia Noventino. Those spots I would recommend anybody goes to. We all had great meals at those places, but I loved everything I ate specifically from those 4 places. Next up, I would say take the metro. The first day that we got there, we didn't end up taking the metro, but we only had such limited time, and my parents kind of had preconceived notions about what the subway was going to be like, but all of those notions got knocked down the second day when I convinced everybody to take the metro, and it was the easiest, most convenient subway system I've ever been on my entire life. Easier than Washington, D.C., easier than New York City to understand. All you have to do is get the app. I think it's Bonjour, RATP, and you can pretty much guide yourself anywhere. We took the metro to Disneyland, we took the metro to the Louvre, we took the metro everywhere, and it made our trip so much more convenient, and it was also very cheap compared to Ubers. Although we did take a couple Ubers later in the trip, just whether we were tired or kind of didn't feel like walking all the way to a subway station. I would otherwise say take the metro everywhere you can because it's cheap, it's convenient, and I think some of the stations were pretty cool. Now, before I wrap up on my advice, a little honorable mention I would say for Disneyland Paris specifically is get the Premier Pass, especially if you're only there for 1 day and you're not staying in the park. Get the Premier Pass because it will make your life so much easier. You won't have to worry about lines, you won't have to worry about getting everything done that you need to, especially for us. The day that we were there, it was so hot. I think it was 95 degrees when we were there, and it was the hottest day of our trip. There was no escape from the AC. And with the Premier Pass, that allowed us to get in and out of rides so quickly. I would say this is worth any amount of money that it costs, and it definitely made our trip to Disneyland Paris possible, I would say, because without it, we would not have been able to do both parks and all the rides that I showed that we did. So going on to my last piece of advice, it's not really advice, it's just more so my favorite parts of the trip and parts that maybe people don't usually go to. But I would say, number 1, go book a sunset cruise on the Seine for the Eiffel Tower. Like I said, this was our first time seeing the Eiffel Tower, and it was a great first impression. Just seeing the whole nightlife of Paris from the view of the river was absolutely incredible, so scenic. Just seeing all the apartments and the architecture, it was just a lovely view, and it's a great way to see the Eiffel Tower. And my second recommendation and my absolute favorite part of the trip was the Sacred Heart Basilica in Montmartre, and even just the Montmartre area in general. Like I said, it was kind of an accident that we ended up there, but it ended up being our favorite part, all of our favorite parts of the trip, I believe, because you got all the way up there. It's the highest point in Paris, and you got a whole 180-degree view of Paris, and there's live music up there, there's vendors, you could put a little lock on a fence and write your initials on it or whatever you needed to do. It was just a great experience to be up there. It really felt like a once in a lifetime moment on my trip. I like kind of had to pinch myself and be like, oh my gosh, I'm actually in Paris. But yeah, those two things I would specifically recommend: the Sunset River cruise and Montmartre area / the Basilica. Um, and if you made it to this part of the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to see a sneak peek into my life, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.